about to chop it up. Come to the show. We got some things we can talk about. Chop it up. Chop it, chop it, chop it, chop it up. Chop it. We got some things we can talk about. Chop it up. Chop it, chop it, chop it up. Chop it up. Chop it. We got some things we can talk about.
You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop with your host, Pastor Marvin McKinstry Jr. Let's chop it up.
Good evening, Chop Shop audience, and welcome to another special broadcast. That's right, it's part 2 of our special on changing the narrative in this harvest season, this harvest month. Get ready to enter into the Advent. We wanted to make sure that we took some particular time to talk about what's right in Baltimore. And last time, we had some amazing people who are on talking about some of the great things that are happening in Baltimore. And tonight, it's going to be elevated a little bit more because not only do we have the great leaders of the work, we have some of the beneficiaries of the work. Forgive me, trying to get myself together. But I'm excited tonight. And y'all see, I'm repping We Are Us. That's right, 10K Power, the Men's Unity Engagement Movement, who is powering and executive producing tonight's show, just like the last show. So I definitely want to shout them out. I got my producer with me, my right hand and my left hand, my main man, Mr. Shaka Pitts on the ones and twos. Shaq's a little under the weather, so he's going to stay off camera. But let's get right into these church announcements. As always, y'all, we kick it off with the Stop the Beef hotline. Baltimore, they say, is in a crisis and has a problem. Well, we got some solutions towards that crisis. All we need you to do is pick up the phone and dial 443-431-3705 or 443-522-7848. On the other end of that line is the men of the We Are Us movement who are doing major things in violence intervention and prevention. So when you call that number, a man is going to respond and make sure that you're responded to. And walking hand in hand with the Stop the Beef hotline is always the peace agreement. The Baltimore Peace Agreement has been making the rounds now for almost 3 years. And literally, men in the street, 10 toes down, are signing on saying, even if I got to eat in the street, I ain't got to rob, steal, or kill in the street. And it's making a difference. All right, the Mayor's Office of Employment Development Employ Baltimore show, hosted by yours truly, is happening every Thursday at 1 p.m. We need y'all to tune in because there's a lot of great opportunities that are discussed on there. We bring businesses, employers live on the screen to talk to you about the opportunities that they have to get you connected as more direct than you can anywhere else. The Mayor's Office of Employment Development and the Westside Youth Opportunity Center, building a workforce system that really works. Victory House Worship Center, where I'm blessed and privileged. Thank you, Shaq, for putting this up there to be the pastor. Come and join us for worship on Sundays at 10 a.m. We're at 1063 West Fayette Street. You can come as you are, come as you comfortable, but you will not leave the way that you come. We're in the lower sanctuary of the Morning Star Baptist Church of Christ, and I need to see everybody in the building on Sunday. All right, y'all, that's about it for our church announcements. And as I stated before, I'm excited about tonight's show because not only do we get to talk to some of the greatest leaders in this work, we're actually getting to talk to some people who are the beneficiaries of this work that's going to help us understand why we need to change the narrative. Before I go on again, I want to make sure that everybody like, love, and share this broadcast. We got to get these views up. This is the conversations that need to be happening in our community. I know this is a different night than I norm, but y'all, we need y'all on here. So tag somebody's name in the comments so that they'll get a direct hit that you inviting them to the show tonight. All of our guests, I hope, are sharing the show. We need everybody to be here to hear this great conversation. Do not let anybody miss out on the great things that we're talking about tonight. I still, again, want to shout out the men of the We Are Us movement who are the executive producers of these two Changing the Narrative shows. Their vision, again, was to make sure that we bring something positive, and we are making it happen. With that being said, we're going to get right to our first guest. In one conversation, I understood that this brother is passionate about this work. He's passionate about this city. The level of sacrifice that you hear in a person when they're talking about their love and their commitment to the work is what I always listen for. Listen, y'all, it ain't hard if you got a 501c3 and the right relationships to get a grant. But the conviction towards this work that's internal is something that you cannot miss when you're talking to a co-laborer as it pertains to what it needs to happen, what needs to happen to change Baltimore, one young person at the time. And this young man, in one conversation, left that kind of impression on me. He is the founder and the director of Mentoring Mentors. I'm talking about one and only my brother Mayo, who's here with a special guest that he's going to introduce to us tonight. What's up, Mayo?
What's going on, Pastor? Thank you so much for having us join. I definitely want to say thank you to you and your team for the invitation, man. When I heard about changing the narrative, I thought that's exactly what we're trying to do. And so it's a pleasure to be on. I brought my guest, my little brother. He was actually our host of our gala event, him and his mom, Jermaine Johns, also known as JJ. JJ, say what's up.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, JJ? It's nice to have you with us tonight, man. And you're going to be an integral part of this conversation. I ain't know, Brother Mayo, when we talked the other day, is that hoodie saying you're a Morganite?
I am not, however, I did get a chance to go and speak to the football team, and so they blessed me with this beautiful hoodie, and so I felt like I wanted to represent for Baltimore. I could have put my Stevenson on, but when we talk about the heart of Baltimore, we talking about Morgan, we're talking about John Hopkins, we're talking about Coppin, and so I just wanted to represent for Morgan tonight.
So I tried to give you an outstanding introduction, man. But in church we always say you can't tell it like I can what the Lord has done for me. So I want you to start us off by telling us a little bit more about you, about mentoring mentors, and just that passion that drives you to do the work that you're doing.
Yeah, no, for sure. I hope we're not having connectivity issues because we're actually at Loyola University. So in the other room, west of us, we have kids in there getting programming. But first and foremost, mentoring mentors, our mission is to connect youth to our intergenerational near-to-peer model, which I'll explain in a little bit, really to encourage foundational change and influence positive relationship and self-development, which we believe will result in a generation of community leaders. And so even when you introduce me as the director. And I just want to kind of renounce that. I never go by the executive director or CEO or anything like that. I always call myself a servant leader because anybody can be an ED for sure. Anybody can be a CEO. And so I just wanted to say, look, I know what I do. I lead literally with God first. Back in 2013, when I was coaching high school football, I was working with some young men in Glen Burnie. And maybe it was just ignorant of me, but I thought that Glen Burnie had better, like their young men were better positioned than a young man in Baltimore. But what I really found out, it was really a color thing. Wherever, black single parents were, we were seeing a lot of issues. And so I knew that coaching wasn't the end all be all. Outside of that 10 to 15 week schedule, we couldn't do much. And so I just wanted to invest in my players, and I did that. And the young men that I was investing in, I was seeing phenomenal growth. One of them actually played for the Arizona Cardinals right now. The other one received like 22 Division I offers. And I said, if I could do this in Glen Burnie, I know I can do it in Baltimore. And so I just, I launched Mentoring Mentors in 2014. We became a nonprofit in 2015, really with the aim to really uplift and inspire our young men to be leading in community. Because when I lived on Cold Spring and Park Heights, when I opened up my door, I wasn't seeing racism. I wasn't seeing lack of education. I wasn't seeing all of these narratives that I was hearing. I was seeing men not leading in the way that I thought was suitable. And in 2017, I started working in partnership with Windsor Hill Elementary Middle School. That's where I met JJ and so many others. And we just kind of been rocking out ever since. Really, at the core is teaching our young people about personal development and self-development. Because what we know is that a lot of them, they're struggling with self-esteem. A lot of them are struggling with, most people would say mental health and all of these other things. But we wanted to get them on a page where they could see themselves better. And you know what? Once they see themselves better, we have people like JJ who we consider leaders. He's in high school. And so our younger kids look up to him as like the next tier. So when we talk about that intergenerational model, it's not always about what Mayo could do. Is, hey, what is JJ doing that I can possibly accomplish? And so since doing that, we've seen some phenomenal change. Like last year, I know JJ had a GPA of like a 3.0. This year, we asked him to host our
You got a little free.
JJ and
Okay.
say, if JJ can do it, so can I. And yeah, it's acting a little funky.
No, we got you back now. We had lost you for a second, but we got you back.
Okay. And so, pretty much, man, the ultimate goal is if we can really change the narrative, because that's what we're trying to do. One of the things that we always tell people is that we're the leaders in positive peer pressure. You and I both know that we all going to face peer pressure at some point in some time. But if we can get enough young people like JJ, like the Johns, like the Jermaines, like the Zion Stokes, like the Oriana, like if we can get enough young people looking up to them, we can really, really start to pull young people in the right direction. But we also know that the foundation has to change, and that's where do we start? And families need some support too. And so, we don't. We always tell people we're about, you know, 2 inches wide, 20 miles deep. Because once you start to build those deep relationships, they turn long term. And so JJ is in his 5th year. And I'm just proud to know like the work that we're doing is making an impact in Baltimore, because we're not just changing lives, we're saving lives. We have 100% graduation rate. And we're going to keep that up, man. And so, and even this past year, I wasn't going to share this, but for the first time in our history, we had a 4.0 student, which was an African American male. And I think that's so relevant because usually females dominate in education, but our males are competing heavily with our young ladies. And so I'll just share that. And, I'll just kind of let you have the floor, Pastor, but I want JJ to share about his
We
experience.
got good time. I want to swing to JJ real quick. JJ, I want you to tell us specifically a little bit about yourself and how you got connected to mentoring mentors.
Well, as Mayo stated, my name is Jermaine, but everybody calls me JJ within the program, and even outside, which is something that they came up with. I'm an 11th grader. I attend Edmondson Westside High School. I'm vice president at my school. I'm on the modeling team, and I won homecoming court. So that's just some things that I do within the school community, and then I have my MM family who I come to weekly. Um, so I joined the program about 5 years ago, going on 6 now, which is quite a long time. I didn't know if I'd make it this long. A friend of mine, an old friend of mine, his name is Dayon. I'm forever grateful for him. Um, he would constantly ask me, like, JJ, this is program that I want to tell you about, and I think you should join it. We do so much good stuff. And every time that he would, talk to me about it, I'd always decline the offer because it was just like, I think I'll pass on it. And so one day he kind of tricked me into going down there. And so Mayo had asked for my information, and I came home and I told my mom, like, hey, it's this mentoring program that I want to join. And I believe Mayo gave her a call, and she did the paperwork. And here I am, years later, sitting here talking to everyone viewing and watching. And Mayo has just taught me so much throughout the years. And I'm forever grateful for him. A while ago, I had lost my father, and I didn't think that there would ever be anyone who could like fill that spot, or, because no one ever will. But Mayo is the only person that has ever and will ever come close. He's like a big brother, but also a father figure. He's taught me so much from when we're in program, or from his personal life, or things that he's never shared with anybody else that he just wants me to know, so I don't make those mistakes when I get older. And so I'm just forever grateful for this family that I have and that I joined by the grace of God. So I always thank God that I'm in this program, because I don't know what I would be doing if I weren't in this program. I ask myself that question all the time. What would JJ be doing right now? Would I even be JJ? Like, what would I be doing? So I always thank Mayo for everything that he's done. Like, everything. He's just so amazing.
I
So
Well, I
appreciate
want
that.
to say, man, I'm excited about you, JJ. You're doing great things. I want to pose this question to you before I slide it over to Mayo. We having this conversation tonight specifically about changing the narrative. Why is it important that when we see nothing but 300 murders, that sort of thing, that we change the narrative and we hear about programs like Mentor and Mentors and the JJs that's out here doing great things?
Oh, this is my favorite question. I just had this conversation last night with somebody, but there's so many children that look like me that
You good?
oh, okay. There's so many people that look like me, so many children that look like me, little boys that want to be singers, or kids that want to be basketball stars, or kids that just have these big dreams, but they're surrounded by all of this madness. You gotta wake up and a child your age just got shot, or someone that's old enough to be your grandmother just got. It's so much that goes on, and I really, really wish that every little kid, boy or girl, that looks like me could have this opportunity. Because if that was the case, then we could truly change not just Baltimore, but the world. And we're doing the best with what we can, but I just wish there was a way for every little black kid to know that it is possible for you to do amazing things starting now. Like, you can start now, but it's so much negativity simply around the word Baltimore. So it's just like they don't think that there's a light outside of this. They don't think that they can go any further than what this is and what they're seeing all around them. And it's like, it's so sad because it's not just this. Even people within my school community, they think that this is it, and they think that what they see and what they hear from their fathers are cool, and it's not. That's not the way of living, and I'm not judging anybody, but it's just so much more to life, and there's so much more that should be being done by these grown-ups. They should be showing these kids proper etiquette as far as life is concerned. You know what I mean? So that's
You want to
just
tell them about some of the opportunities you had, like Michigan College?
of course.
New York.
So New York. Okay, so I'm working with an organization that's based in New York, and we work with different outreach programs to kind of have an outreach for people who are dealing with poverty and homelessness. That's one of the opportunities. Another opportunity is I was sent to Michigan for a week, which I actually wanted to kill Mayo for this, but he gave me the opportunity. Me and three other students to go to Michigan. And the first couple of days out there, like, it was no connection. It was just nothing. I was there with it was a bunch of people from different places. And the first couple of days, I was just like, oh, when I get back, I'm gonna have a word for Mayo. Like, this is just crazy. Like, I don't like this. And within the next, I think, like 4 days in, I was on stage singing in front of a crowd, and everybody just like, yeah, JJ. Woo. So I went out there, I went out all the way out to Michigan, made a name for myself in Michigan in this little camp called Minnewanka. And so this year in June or July, I'll actually be going back for my second year. It's actually a 4-year program, and I will most likely be doing all 4 years. And another opportunity, we had a college tour last spring. Over our spring break, we had a college tour. We visited how many? 10 colleges. And the college that I was interested in was Georgia State University, which is in Atlanta, of course. And so those are just a couple that I can think of off the top of my head of the opportunities that I've had from mentors.
That's awesome. Brother Mayo, we got about a minute and 30 seconds left in the segment. Tell everybody how they can get connected, how they can get young people connected, and how we can actually help get you more integrated into spaces in Baltimore that need the great work that you're doing.
No, I appreciate that. Well, first and foremost, you can. I'm easy to find, man. I'm a local guy. You can just go on any platform, type in Alfonso Mayo, and you'll see this face. You can definitely find us on the internet, www.mentoring-mentors.org, or you can just find us on Instagram. In any way that you try to connect, we're definitely trying to plug in. I want to just share this really quick, Pastor, before we leave. One of the things we tell our youth is once you're exposed, you're forever exposed. You cannot undo it, whether it's good or bad. And so that's why we're trying to give our young people more opportunities than they can probably ever dream of or imagine. but those positive opportunities, because we know that that will trickle down to their next generation and their next generation, etc. And that's really how we change the narrative here in Baltimore. You got to be willing to like sacrifice something. It might be your own time, it might be your own fun, it might even be, just some friendships. But at the end of the day, I do believe, Len, what we're trying to do is for the greater good. I do know like it is my divine calling, my purpose, and essentially what I'm doing here. If you want to look at it from a biblical standpoint, man, we're teaching discipleship. And so if you want to be a part of, yes, the program, just understand that it's also a ministry that I take serious. We always have on the back of our shirts, hashtags never get comfortable, because we're not comfortable with the narrative. And we know that people like JJ is going to be a part of that change, people like Josh and John and all these other great young people that we serve. And so we appreciate you, Pastor, for having us a part of this conversation. And we thank everyone that was listening.
I appreciate you for being here, man. It's always a great time when we get the opportunity to shine a light on somebody else that's doing great work here. So many people, that is the part of the narrative that really needs to change. There are so many people that are doing legitimate work, great work. I'm gonna be the first one to tell you, I don't endorse everybody. You ain't gonna see everybody on my platform because I know when it ain't right, it ain't right. I ain't gonna say it's right to make it right. But brother Mayo, man, I thank God for the work that you're doing. I'm gonna be keeping you in my prayers, and I know I got your email earlier today. We're gonna be connecting and trying to see how we can bring what you already establishing into some other spaces. I got some young men in my church that I've been working with, and the sustainability of it with me as the pastor hasn't been great. But we're gonna talk about how we fix that with mentor and mentors.
I appreciate you, Pastor. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, y'all. You on tonight with the Chop Shop. I do want to shout out my Victory House Worship Center family. They are on here deep in the comments. I love y'all. Listen, y'all, we going to swing right to our next segment. And we got one of the guys, y'all have seen him on the show, and he will tell you in a minute that he cannot stand talking or having to be on any platform before people talking. But once he get to talking, the thing that's clear is his passion for Baltimore, his passion for this work. He has an amazing testimony of how God just changed his life, and he literally lives the change by dedicating himself. Y'all think I'm busy. Y'all think I'm in these streets. Y'all think I'm doing a lot. This brother is out here. I'm talking about the one and only captain of the Nation of Islam's Fruit of Islam here at Muhammad Mosque number 6, brother Andrew Muhammad. And he has a special guest with him tonight that he's going to introduce. But let's go on and bring Perez up on the screen as well. How you doing, Cap?
Hey, what's up, Pastor? How you doing, sir? Thank you.
Man, I'm always excited when I'm in your presence, brother.
Man, thank you for having us, bro. I appreciate that, man. It feel like it's been a minute, but every time I come on here, I'm excited because, as you mentioned, I don't like doing this, but I know this is more important than myself. So it's more than worth the sacrifice, man. And your platform is one that I'll come on every time you ask me, man. So thank you, bro.
I want to challenge any us brother that's listening right now to get in the comments. I want you to, if you see a brother that's not on here, get in the comments, type his name, tag him, bring him in. I want to see all the brothers on tonight. We should be pushing this. Let's make Facebook's algorithm go crazy. Put the hearts up, put the thumbs up, make it go crazy so more people know that we live. And Perez, how you doing, my man?
I'm good.
Thank you for being with us tonight.
Of course.
So, Kat, tell us a little bit about yourself, man, and what drives you to this work. I love your testimony myself, man, because it's one of those ones that just reminds me that I ain't the only one.
It's crazy because me and yours is very similar, and it's an honor, man. But I just got caught up at a young age, and I didn't know which way to go. My father wasn't there. I'm a junior. The streets was my way out, and I fell in love with the streets. Got caught up in juvenile justice. Then went to prison for 7 years, and but the whole time I'm in prison, I knew I wanted to do better. I just didn't know how. So and I, born a Christian, and still love the Black church to this very day. I can't really say enough about my relationship with the brothers, the pastors, the bishops, and we are us, man. and really it has given me new life, man, as far as expanding this work. So I have to say that I got mad respect and love for the bishops and the pastors, and we are us. I mean, some of the great leaders that people don't know about who's doing great things. And maybe one day we can get some of them up here too, Pastor, because you all have been inspirational in my life. But as far as my personal journey, I'm still on it. One thing I do know, I'm better than I was 20 something years ago. I'm way better. I don't ever want to see that man again. So it's been an honor to be amongst great men like yourself that's striving. I don't think we give each other enough credit. None of us are perfect, but we came a long way. And I don't think we honor Black men enough. We let the media tear us apart because they control it. But on this line right here, they don't control this line.
That's right.
I'm thankful for brothers like yourself, man, and my progression and still progressing.
You on Live with the Chop Shop. We come to you every Thursday. This is a special broadcast at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday. And I want to do the same thing. I want to ask Perez. Perez, talk to us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to know Brother Andrew.
Okay, my name is Perez. I'm a 10th grader. I'm a sophomore. I go to Reach Partnership. I met Mr. Andrew through a situation. I had gotten into a fight at the Reach because somebody, the boy that jumped my friend, and I helped him, and I almost got arrested for help. And one of the cops sent me to Brother Andrew. So for now, I've been with Brother Andrew for a couple months, almost a year. And as soon as I got with him, started good. I've always been good. He put me in boxing, I believe, in the first day. Got me in boxing. Been doing boxing for a couple months. Always traveling, giving out to the homeless, giving free food to the people, giving out to the community, cleaning the community up. I got my achievement, I think, in Park Heights. He gave me a little certificate in Park Heights. Took a picture, got it in Park Heights when we was giving out food. It was very cold outside, but it didn't matter because we was giving out to the community, giving back. And then we had another one. I forgot where it was at, but we was also giving out free turkeys to the community. And then that's really how I met Captain Andrew and how my path started.
One of the things I want to swing back and talk to you about, Cap, is the young man said that a police officer who was involved decided to make an intervention, didn't need to get him in juvenile justice first, didn't need to get him in court. How important is it, man? Because one of the things that Black men have done is unapologetically try to rebuild the relationship with law enforcement for the benefit of things like this. How important is it that while we changing the narrative, we go aggressively at those narratives that police can't function in our community?
Yeah, thank you for that. And I want to, it's going on 2 years. He said almost 1 year. It's going on 2 years he's been with us, Pastor and Perez. But I mean, that's very important, Pastor Marvin. As you know, we promote good policing. We need law enforcement in our city. We just need to identify the ones that's not right and expose them. And a big shout out to Xavier Harper, Tiba Wise,
Rashad Hammond,
Major Jeff Shorter, who's retired. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, these guys, before they would lock these young guys up, and Perez is a great example, they was going to lock them up, but they would talk to their parents, whether they're in school or in the streets, and say, we're going to turn him over to We Are Us Baltimore Brothers, or he's going down juvie. And people don't think that exists no more. But we get calls a lot, several times a month about helping these young men out on these corners, these gas stations. And people don't know about that because we don't really talk about it. But Perez is 100% right. Xavier Harper gave him an option, and his mother brought him right to us. So the relationship with the law enforcement is very important. This is why we need more Black cops in our community, because they show empathy towards Perez. That's what he did. He understood what Perez was going through. He understood that juvenile justice wasn't going to give him the help that he needed. He didn't need to be behind no bars. He needed to be in an organization that loved young black men and was going to help him out sincerely with no strings attached. And that's why he's still with us. It's going on 2 years. And his mother, she drops him off and keep going. She don't stay. She drops him off and keep going. Whatever we want to do with him, his mother gives us permission. We only had to ask her. And he's been doing great. And a big shout out to he's talking about Mac Lewis Gym. They took him on, warning them for free. They didn't charge him zero. We brought him down there the second day. He said the first day, it was the second day. Took a picture, Warren signed him right up, and he's been going hard ever since, man. So it's the relationships and the partnerships that we established throughout the city, man, that allows us to service these young men, man, and the time we spend with them.
What I want to do is swing back to you and ask you this very important question, Perez. We're hearing about people who are trying to lock up squeegee workers, and we're hearing about young people with gun violence. How important is it that we change the narrative from the perspective of your generation who needs to hear more of the good stuff that's taking place?
I feel like gun violence is not very always the situation, because every time something happens, a fight, lose a fight, either you win or lose, is always go to gun violence. Like the person I went to school with, that he got killed on Old York Road. He was only 15. He got killed at the wrong place at the wrong time on the corner. He got shot in the head. He was in critical condition, and now he passed away. But I can't really speak on it because he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. But I feel like gun violence is very disrespectful to others. It hurt other people's families, like traumatizing. People really be hurt behind how they signs and the only kid dies. Like, I can feel their pain too. Like, everybody don't need a go to guns as a situation, and guns is not always the start of problems. Like, you can set it out, talk it out as men, and not fight or shoot about it.
Being a young person, most of the time when we hear in your generation, it's associated with something negative in the news. If you was to be able to talk to the news right now, Perez, about the need for them to talk about you out here giving away turkeys, you doing major community service, and turning your life around in the process, how would you articulate that need for people to know more about the good stuff?
I would say people should come out more. They look into the mentors so they can join the community. People just hide behind shelters in the houses and don't come outside when they need to be with the community and give back to the community. That's how I would go about the situation.
Thank you, Perez. Cat, we need to change the narrative, man. You're a man that don't mind speaking truth to power. Fox 45 ain't gonna pick this up. Fox 45 picked up clips every time I was talking about the school system or something that was wrong. But Fox 45 and other outlets aren't going to pick this up and make sure that they make it a part of it. But how important is it that we hold the media accountable to tell the good news?
Man, it's very important. And we want to thank Channel 2. They did an interview with us last night. They came up Park Heights at Bishop Elliott Church. So I think if we focus more on shows like yours, if we focus more on individuals that's doing the work and boots on the ground, I mean, you'll be able to get a clear message of what we missing with these news stations, because I mean it's traumatizing. And sometimes I watch Fox 45, and every time I look at it, it seems like it's always tearing down the black man, whether it be a politician or somebody got some issues going on, but it's nothing opposite of that. It's no good. It's like we don't do no good in our city. And we was talking about this last night, Pastor, how if they calculate, we can't even measure the work. And I'll use you as an example, the work that you all are doing down at Poe Homes. And they don't come down there and see what y'all doing. They don't know about the murders and the shootings, how y'all got a ceasefire down there, and how you partner with them brothers down there and them brothers in the streets. And when we walk through there, they show us mad love. And that's because that's your area. When you go down there, you take the lead. We follow you down there. All them brothers and sisters, the young ones and the old ones know you. So just imagine if the media went down there with us. In the height, we was down there 2 weeks ago at 6 o'clock, 7, 8 o'clock at night, walking through the projects, and with nobody, nobody's coming outside that time of night because it's too dangerous. But we was out there, we was down there, and you was leading us in the field. So, I mean, that picture's too good for the media, man. It's too good. They're not going to show that because that's too good. That shows black men doing positive things. And if my son seen that, your son seen that, and other young men seen that, it would shock them. Damn, I didn't know this was going on, because a lot of people don't know what we're doing in the community because the news don't promote no good. It's like we don't exist when it comes to anything positive in our city, man.
We got 2 minutes going left in the segment. Perez, I want you to talk to every young person that's listening today and tell them why it's important for them to get connected to the right mentors so that they can make sure that they're not in the wrong places at the wrong time.
I feel like y'all should talk to the right mentors, because I know most of y'all don't want to die at a young age. You still have a life to live. Always gonna have a life to live, no matter how or however. You don't want to end up in jail. Jail is not for you. Jail is gonna be terrible. So you should find the right mentors. Get with the program. They might get you in the activity you want to do. Any activity, do something good. Always.
That's awesome, Perez. I want to thank you for being with us. Cap, tell the people how they can get connected to you.
Man, please, Instagram, Facebook, We Are Us, movement.org or Baltimore Brothers.org. We are a group of men that fear God and want to see change in our city. Please check our website out. Please check us out on IG or Facebook so you can see the great works that we're striving to do. We need more great men, more great women that want to come and help and be a partner. You don't have to report to us. We just need people that care about our city and sick and tired of this killing and this shooting and this violence. We need help. We need more men and women. We need help. Thank you, Pastor.
Y'all heard it here, man. Y'all hear it here with some consistency. It's great things that's happening in Baltimore, and this brother is at the forefront of it. Brother Perez, I want to thank you for being with us tonight. We know it ain't always easy when you're a young person to get on camera and talk to us old folks, man, but you did an outstanding job. Every chance you get, man, I hope that you are sounding the trumpet about the great things that you are doing and the great need for more young people to connect to the right people. Cap, I think you're going to stick around with us for this last segment.
Yes, sir.
And y'all listen, I want to encourage you one more time. You are on with the Chop Shop. We come to you weekly at 6 p.m. This is a special broadcast on Tuesday for changing the narrative. We're normally here on Thursdays. And I'm excited about this next section. These two men that I'm going to bring on to join this conversation and really take us home, as we got about another 15 minutes or so of show left, are two brothers who I've grown a great deal of respect for. One, I used to always see him, and I told this at his retirement ceremony, and I had the pleasure of being the MC. I told this story. I used to see him everywhere, and I said, who is this little white guy? Everywhere black people trying to do something, he is right there in the mix. I said, he got to be a spy or something. Who is he? Who let him in? But I've come to know him and know that this man loves Baltimore, and he's lended time, energy, and effort. He's the only person I know that retires, and the only way I can email him is on his work email. Don't ask me how it works, but I'm talking about a gem and a jewel in the city of Baltimore, the one and only Dr. Phil Leaf. Doc, first time here, man. Finally got you on. And last but certainly not least, I want to bring my brother on, man, soon to be doctor, great man of God. We served in the same areas. People tried to put us in competition, but God had a greater plan, and it's been all about the love. I'm talking about a man of his word, a man of integrity, a man who has literally been one of the building blocks for the We Are Us men's movement, which I'm a founding member of. I'm talking about the one and only, our first president, former President Corey Bonds. What's up, Corey? Unmute yourself.
What's going on, Pastor? Can you hear me?
Man, ain't too much. Look, just with this combination that we got on the screen, I'm excited about this conversation. And Dr. Phil, I got to come to you first, man, because like I said, the love and respect that I've gained for you down through the years is just tremendous. And you are one of those people who behind the scenes, if you don't know you, you don't know you, but you are always pushing the need to change the narrative in Baltimore. Tell the people a little bit more about you beyond my humble introduction and what it is that drives your passion as it pertains to this work.
Okay. Well, I was a professor at Johns Hopkins for a long time and had a program for supporting young people who had serious mental health problems. And within the first 100, about 100, 120 that we served, 3 of them got shot. And we put together programs about supporting them and their family and things. And it just struck me that I need to stop working on helping people after they're shot and try to help people before they get shot. And how do we prevent people from getting shot? And I just want to sort of highlight a couple of things that people said, because Mayo came on and he said he was at Loyola. We got people who are working in the community, but they got hooked up with the university because he needed the space. I mean, he's working with the youth programs in there, and the youth need probably a sports space and the other kind of space. And Brother Andrew's over at the Oliver Center. He's working out of a community center there. And Pastor Barnes is working with the church and pulling together a lot of these folks. And so I think the relationships and not lastly, but in addition, Pastor Marvin, although he talked about his church, but he's been working outside his real job, bringing the jobs to the people, and have been able to get the employers to get the WeRS group that if we can recruit people, we can sign them up and they're going to be starting in 2 days. I mean, we have to get them their materials and stuff, but again, it's the relationships that everybody's talking about. And so how do those people in the community, like nobody could do everything, but everybody got to do something. There's a little bit of something you can do. You don't have to go on the walks, but maybe you know somebody who needs a job, or maybe you have an opening in your employment and you need to reach out to one of the folks here or one of the people in the network to be able to get these people the jobs. It's all these connections that we need to be doing. And I think that's the real amazing thing about Baltimore is that there are these connections, but we spend a lot of time trying to deal, again, react to other people reacting to the negative stuff, as opposed to, as Brother Andrew said, people spending time about how they could help. If all the TV stations and all the broadcasters had things that were going on, then people that are watching that would be connecting to those young people who are, again, highlighting those 2 young people we met today. They're going to get to college. They're going to raise important, families, but they're also going to be mentors for younger people than them to say, hey, I can be doing these things. I can get a job. I can go to a college. And so I think that's what we're trying to do. There's many things.
Pastor Corey, I want to swing over to you because you too have a background in academics. And a lot of people, I think the work that you're doing in ministry and in the community may have overshadowed that. But for years, you stood 10 toes down in the Sandtown, Winchester community, teaching a lot of guys. And like myself, Dr. Phil, Captain Andrew had to experience what it was like to have that life that you had such an integral part in snatched up by the streets. Talk to us a little bit more about who you are. Give the people some more background, and then talk to us about your passion for this work.
Yeah, my background is I started in education. Well, actually, I started even before that. I was at Charles Hickey School. And I don't know if y'all know this famous principal named Boyce Mosley, right? He retired. He used to be at Northwestern. And Boyce Mosley came over to Charles Hickey School. And the kids were act out, Marvin. And we would send them back to the unit. Boyce Mosley came in there the second day and said they got 2 options. They can learn on the floor or they can learn in the classroom, but they cannot go back to the unit. They go back to the unit, you fired. So we had 200 kids restrained out Charles Hickey School, and they would just be yelling and screaming and fighting and everything. But in 5 days, they went from the floor to the chair, from the chair to learning the multiplication tables in 5 days, man. And then I ended up going to Sandtown, but I came out of Charles Hickey School. So when I got down to Sandtown, they like, who this thug down here telling us what to do? He think he all I like, y'all don't understand what I come out of. You know what I mean? So that ended up being my how I started my career down in Baltimore City, because it was nothing compared to the school. I loved it down at Charles Hickey School, and then we went over to Sandtown. And from there, man, we talk about quality connected relationships. I promised them. I did a project called North Bay. I was one of the founding with Pastor Bob, and I was there 10 years. And I looked in the face of my kids after 10 years, and I told them, I said, when I finish, I said, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm always going to be here. I'm going to always be here for y'all, even though I'm going to do this project, make some real money, right? I'm going to make some real money, but I'm going to always be in Sandtown for y'all. And let me tell y'all, it's 27 years later. People like Sean Price, all the guys that I raised, I'm still in that relation. I'm still in close relationship with all of them. They call me. They are cap taps until we out. They tap cap in the cap, tap into all of us, man. Because listen, those relationships have to go on for a lifetime. When I looked in the face and I went down to town center, I said we will be in each other's lives forever. One of the students I taught is in my doctoral program. I taught him in the 5th grade, and we in the doctoral program together, man. So listen, there's nothing like spending that time with someone. And I call him about the assignment now, and I was his writing teacher. So man, look at the beauty of when you put that kind of work in. You talk about changing the narrative, man. That's what changing the narrative is all about.
One of the things that was said, and I think Brother Mayo said it, is the need for intergenerational work to happen, right? Hey, Lisa, one of our sisters who's doing amazing work with youth, Lisa Molot. Lisa, next time we got to get you in this mix. But when we talk about that, that intergenerational aspect of it, I'm offended when a murder happens.
Yes,
Not offended as though somebody is doing something in my streets, but I'm offended because that's one that I couldn't get. You know what I mean? And it's a different perspective. The Brother Mayo said when he stepped out, he didn't see racism. He seen a lack of men stepping up. How important is it? And anybody that wants to can jump in on this question. How important is it that while we changing the narrative, we also attack perspective and help people to realize that we don't have at the paramount issue of racism in our community, that the lack of men has risen above that.
absolutely. I mean, Pastor Marvin, one of the things where it was so important, man, I'll never forget this. And so Sandtown started everything for me, my pastoral ministry and everything. Because I will never forget, man, the kids were off the chain. They were carrying on. Fred, Sean, all of them was acting out, Marvin. And all of a sudden, I stopped everything. And I started talking about their destiny and what God had for them. And man, but what blew my mind, Pastor Marvin, I had 32 men, young men, and only three of them had their fathers in their lives. 14 of their fathers were shot and killed out of 32. Come on now, man. And I remember that moment, man. I'm gonna say it was a God moment. I had these so-called problem kids in tears so bad that was the bell rang in time to switch class. And the teacher said, "Don't, you can't send them in here like that. They got to go back to you." Because it was a moment. And you know what that moment is, Pastor Marvin. You know what that moment is. And it was one of those moments, and they were just saying, and they couldn't even get themselves under control. And I will never forget that day, man. And I just think, we got to keep having these moments with our young men, man. Those breaking moments, those moments where they recognize they're not their own and they can't do this on their own, man. And you say, "I'm with you. I'm walking with you." We gotta be that for these young men, man. And so we just gotta keep doing this, man. One thing I love about Cap is, man, the thing I love about Cap is every testimony is Cap done walk with me. Cap done walk with me. He done walk with me. You know what I mean? Every brother that I run across, that brother done walked with me. You know what I mean? And that's a major thing, man, when you walking with somebody through their lives, man. And so I just appreciate that, man. Yeah.
Dr. Phil, you've been a part of the We Are Us Men's movement virtually from day one. When we start talking about the expansion of this work, and you've been in spaces with the government connectivity, local academia, the foundations, what conversation needs to be had to empower the work of organizations like We Are Us with the foundational institutions like the Johns Hopkins, the University of Maryland, the Life Bridge Healths, the foundations like KC and those, to really, and not through some government intervention, but to come straight to the ground and to lift up a movement like We Are Us? I know it's a loaded question. I meant for
No,
it to
but
be.
so if you think back right before COVID, we had 1,000 people walking with us at Martin Luther King birthday. And then COVID came. And that one of the problems, because, and Corey said, this is all based on relationships. Well, it's hard to get the people together before, now we're coming back out. And the issue is they have to realize, and I think the young guys that were on earlier, that the people that are high school juniors and seniors, they can communicate with the younger people. And our people and the early young people, they can talk to the people that are still in the schools, and that these relationships that are there, because, and I think that you've done this with when people get employment. Well, after they've been for the job, they may not be a supervisor, but they've kept their job for a couple of months. Well, then they need to take on the next person who's coming in. Again, there's something everybody can be doing. And I think the funders, as opposed to just thinking about the organizations, what is it about the families that they're serving? What are the people that they're working with? How can they be helping to them? Who are they going to church with? And what about the grandchildren of some of the people in their faith groups, whether it's a mosque or a temple or a church? How can they be reaching out? Because again, I think a lot of what we're doing, and even the people that are on the Zoom right now, they do stuff as part of their jobs, but they also are doing stuff because they ran into somebody. And they're always trying to use make their positive connections because they know somebody. And so how do we, again, just get the connections with the real people that need it, not we get somebody some money and the first thing they do is hire an executive director. That's not what we need. We need to really empower the people that we're working with, the young people, so that they can then turn their, not just turn their lives around, but give back to the next person.
You're on Live with the Chop Shop. We come to you on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesday special broadcast. Cap, I want to swing up to you, man, because when we start talking about things that we admire about you, one of the things that I admire about you is that, when you speak, men listen. I think about that scene in the movie Malcolm X where the brothers were outside the hospital, and it's one of my favorite shows of strength from Black men. And one thing that you've proven as a leader of men, whether it's the FOI and even beyond, what do we need to do? And you said it earlier about the parent. What do we need to do to allow our men to lead?
Man, I think we don't need a lot of leaders, but what we do need is a lot of men that want to see change. And like all four of us on this line are leaders, but we operate in the passenger seat as well. So we're not worrying about who's taking the lead, because if you abuse your leadership, God gonna deal with you anyway if you abuse it. So, and that's the kind of men that's around We Are Us. We're not worrying about who's leading. I think that at this point right now, with all this violence taking place, we need more men with humility and want to just volunteer their time and their efforts and their relationships so we can make a difference. Because the one thing we have in common is our people are dying in the streets. Our people are suffering. And a lot of it is hitting home. A lot of people are losing family members, grandmothers, mothers, children, babies. And it's starting to hit home. So let's get in front of it. And we got to come out to church. We got to come out to mosque. We got to come out to synagogue. We got to come out these organizations. And we just got to become one. It's okay to have a disagreement with Pastor Marvin. But that's fine. We men, we can get past that. Let's go save some lives. And we just got to swallow the thing that we really want to say that really don't make no sense. Let's get, once we get in the trenches together, Pastor Marvin, Pastor Corey, Dr. Leaf, man, everything changed. Everything changed. When you get in them trenches and you see how them people are suffering and they really want to see somebody, they really want some help. They just don't know how to go get it. But if you come walk with us, or we'll walk with you, you'll see the difference in how the people respond to you or respond to us. And then that should motivate you. I got to do more of this. Because I'm going to say this last thing. One thing about when somebody need help, bro, when you look into their soul or you look into their eyes, man, they really appreciate that when they say thank you and you do something for them, not just give them money, but like Pastor Corey said, we hold their hand and walk them through the process. And that's where the change start right there.
Man, listen, you on Live with the Chop Shop. I got my 3 guests on. We wrapping up this final segment of the show. Pastor Corey, you got an audience with men. We're getting ready to approach Martin Luther King's birthday again. Talk to the men about where they need to be as it pertains to walking with the men of the We Are Us movement.
Listen, brothers, I know we've had 2 years off of COVID, but it's now time to get back out in these streets. Listen, we had 1,000 men on Martin Luther King birthday. I'm challenging you right now, everybody, to tag someone. I want to see 2,000 men this year. I think we need to be record breaking this year, that we need to have 2,000 men out in the streets of Baltimore. Now, this is the thing. If when we started this, we had 300 murders. It's been 300 murders ever since. Now, if that's not motivation enough, that means there's 900 more people that died since the time we just started this. So that means if that's not motivated enough to come back out on the street and begin to have a voice and stand up, it's time now. So I'm just challenging us to Martin Luther King. Meet us right there on the corner of Dolphin, right across the street from the credit union. Meet us right there. We're gonna start right there, unless the mayor changes things this year. But keep it posted. We are at weourusmovement.org. Come on out. We need 2,000 men, and bring the women too. Y'all can come too this time.
Dr. Phil, we got about 30 seconds. Talk to us.
Well, just what can you do? You can do it within your faith group. You can do it with your neighborhood. Maybe one of some children that aren't doing well. Captain Andrew has a mentoring program, a life coaching program. We can provide the services. Just hook them up with us.
Captain Andrew, Dr. Phil Leaf. The timer just went off. Dr. Phil Leaf and Pastor Corey Barnes, I want to thank you guys for being with us. I also want to shout out Brother Mayo for mentoring mentors and JJ. And I want to shout out the young brother Perez that was with us tonight. This show has been impactful. It's been powerful. Y'all will be able to see replays of it on the We Are Us website. Lisa, I just text your phone. I need you to call me as soon as we go off the air. And I want to thank all of my guests tonight for being with us. It's been amazing. You don't want to miss Thursday night show because we're going to be sitting down. One of our guests is going to be Pastor Shelley Carter Burton, and y'all already know when she comes, she's going to bring the whole Holy Ghost through the screen. So y'all come on and make sure y'all with us. I want to just thank everybody for being with us tonight. I want to thank my right hand and my left hand, my main man, Mr. Shaka Pitts, for making the magic happen as he always does. And I want to thank you. I always say, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to hear it, does it make a sound? Of course it does. It just was nobody there to hear it. We show up, y'all hearing this positive conversation, especially these conversations about changing the narrative. I think we're going to keep this dialogue going in different formats and in different ways as we move forward. We want to make sure that we using our platforms to balance out the things that the other sides of media won't tell. So I'm thankful to our executive producers tonight, the We Are Us Men's Movement, for getting behind this work, pushing it, pulling it together, and then giving us the opportunity to host it. I gotta say, it was We Are Us, y'all. I'm a part of it, but they brought it to me and said, hey, we want to do it here. So thank you to all of the men of the We Are Us movement, all of our sisters who support the movement. Y'all, we are in the streets and we're looking forward to big things. Trust God, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him. He will direct your path. Be the change that you want to see. If you in the area and you think something need to be different, make it happen. And above and beyond everything else, always remember that you can be more. Thank you for joining us.
I can be more. There's nothing that I can't achieve if I just believe.